What's up, guys? Rob Chronicles. Hey, I wanted to just make a quick post and just say you guys need to keep an eye out on this election because we're now starting to get lawsuits back and forth from both sides on this early mail-in voting. The way Utah does it, it seems to work. I'm not familiar with absentee ballots very much, but I know absentees work, especially if you're military or doing something else that you have to leave your state and go somewhere else, and then you know the deal. We need to keep an eye on this because this could turn into a huge problem. And I saw a report on something today on the news where they're anticipating that they won't know election results for months after the election. And we just need to, with all this other stuff going on, the looting and the rioting in Salt Lake and all that BS going on, we just need to keep our eyes open and our head forward and pay attention to that and pay attention to what's going on. And if you don't live in Utah, you still need to pay attention to what's going on in your state. I implore you to educate yourself, as well as those around you, if they'll listen. If they don't, then that's their right. But this is going to be a pivotal election. I know people say that all the time. What we have on the ballot is we have good versus evil. Seriously. When Biden says I'm going to transform America, he ain't lying. He ain't blowing BS down the street. He's eating it. He knows exactly what he's doing. He will transform America to where we don't know what. Goodbye guns, goodbye police, goodbye. And here's the thing. I'm going to go off on a little tangent real quick. I know I said this was going to be quick, but here's the thing. So I'm a former police officer. Some of these cities want to cut their police budgets by half, 50%, and then they want to take away law enforcement's ability to respond to non-emergency calls. Okay, well, okay, that's fine. The problem is sometimes non-emergency calls turn into emergency calls. Domestic disturbances, that's the biggest killer of law enforcement officers, besides a traffic stop. You are more likely to be killed on a domestic violence or traffic stop than anything else. And those are statistics that can be backed up. This is crazy. So they want to replace law enforcement officers with social workers and counselors or whatever it is they're wanting to do. Right? First of all, I'm not giving a social worker a gun. I don't care if they're, ex-law enforcement, ex-military. I'm not giving them a gun. Okay? Now, you can get on me for that, and that's fine. We can have a discussion. But I'm not giving them a gun. Okay? Especially to go to calls for service like that. And I'll tell you why. And this is the main reason why. Is because if you have a social worker or counselor out there carrying a gun and going, or any type of weapon for that matter, going to a domestic disturbance or anything that's non-emergent, or what the city deems non-emergent, because the protesters have deemed them non-emergent, they're going to get hurt or killed. Okay, because there's going to be force involved, and the force is not going to be able to equal the other force, and so someone's going to get hurt, and it's probably going to be the poor social worker that's sitting out there trying to do his job. Okay, and then you put them in a position that you would put law enforcement officers, and law enforcement officers are paid specifically for that and responsible for that. That's why we are where we are, because of bad decision making by police officers. So you want to do that now with a social worker. First of all, if I was a social worker, hell no, I'm not going and taking calls for service for cold burglary calls and rapes and all this other stuff. No, I'm not doing that. I'm absolutely not doing that. I'm a social worker. I'm there to help. After. I really don't know too much about what. I've been to a psychiatrist before. I had to go for a surgical consult when I had my surgery, but I don't know. They're usually post event, not current event. Social workers and psychiatrists and all those the other things that they want to send to calls. And here's the thing, is what kind of call are you going to send a social worker to? A fight? What's he going to do? You're going to get him hurt. You can't substitute psychiatrists and social workers for law enforcement. You just can't do it. You can try, but you're going to get people hurt. Now, my rant is done. That's why I don't want social workers having guns and working as quasi law enforcement. If you don't like it, too bad. We can talk about it. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to talk back and forth. So, anyway, poor leadership in Salt Lake City. I don't know if she's on the ballot this time to be reelected, but let's get her the heck out of there and put someone in that would stand up to people and back our law enforcement officers, especially the good ones. And I don't mean back them whether they're good or bad. We want the good ones. We want the ones that are in the communities, working with the people, playing basketball with people, or doing the Explore program, or something like that. Something that's going to make the community and policing more friendly with each other. This was stuff that I learned as I was going up in law enforcement, and I saw how you can defuse a situation really quick just by having rapport with people. And I think we need to have more rapport work done instead of more heavy enforcement. Or there's only one thing that I agree with, and that is the paramilitarization of law enforcement. We do need to have some kind of response to, extreme calls, like that LA bank robbery in the 90s. We need to have some kind of thing like that. But you don't call the SWAT team out every time there's a gun call, and you have the tank, is what I call it, running around the street scaring the hell out of people. That's ridiculous. So anyway, I'm kind of all over the place with this post, but I haven't posted in a while, so I just wanted to say a few things, get some things off my chest, and comment below if you want to keep going about the discussion that I had, and let me know. Talk to you later. Be safe and be vigilant. Be educated.